Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another one. So in this one, I want to talk about this Reaper guy here and Negan and how he could be a former savior. And when he does find out that Negan's alive, how he may show his allegiance to him and how this could really affect the next arc that we're going into. So before going any further, obviously this will contain spoilers for the most recent episode of The Walking Dead, which is episode 17, titled Home Sweet Home. If you are new here, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this in terms of reviews, breakdown videos of all the recent news that comes out. Now, this one's it's very theory ridden, I would say. Like, I'm not 100% on this idea, but it is a little interesting if you think about the concept of the Reapers and the fact that a lot of the producers are saying that we are going to see a lot more of them. I saw a few people commenting that the Reaper guy is the same actor from season 7 or 6 or something like that. I just kind of ignored it until I went to just go look it up, and yeah, it is the same guy, which I just thought, well, and the thing is, that's the thing. This is where this whole thing could just fall apart, is that they could have just reused the same actor, right? Like the other guy, it's not like he played a memorable savior or anything like that. It was just some background savior. So this could easily be just, I don't know, they reuse the same actor. It happens. But where I think this could get a little interesting is just with the idea of the Reapers. First of all the saviors aren't dead, right? Like, some of them did survive. A lot of them did die, but a lot of them they just left, they fled. So it's not that crazy to think that this guy here, who was in season 6, 7, and 8, I think, after the war, he fled. I mean, it's been 6, 7 years, and then at some point he just joined the Reapers, right? And so that's the whole thing behind this idea, is that the Reapers may have been formed after the Saviors collapsed. I don't know if they necessarily want revenge on just, our group in Alexandria or Maggie. They may have just formed in general, but it also would be nice to give them some pretty interesting backstory, and I think this would be something that is very cool. Like, maybe the idea of the Reapers is just something entirely different, right? Like, it's not a Saviors 2.0 group, like, they could be something entirely different. It's just they were all former Saviors at one point in time. Now, the reason why I thought of this is because there's this small arc that happens with Sherry and Dwight after the Whisper War, and it's where they all find Negan still alive, and then they all kind of show allegiance to him. At least it's this cover right here. It's not really what it seems like, but it kind of is. And so I'm wondering if, the Reapers if they don't know that he's alive, and maybe they thought Negan died a long time ago, then maybe when they do find him alive in Alexandria, you get a scene like this, right? Where they all show allegiance to Negan because he was their former leader, and they're all kind of shocked that he's still alive. We could get this scene in Alexandria, because this does happen after the Whisper War arc, and like right before the Commonwealth arc. It's a very small arc that happens. Like, this could be the next arc that we're getting in Alexandria before the Commonwealth arrive to meet Daryl and everyone else. So, I mean, ultimately, in the end, Negan just calms things down between both of them, or between the groups, and then they all just leave, So they could do a version of that where the Reapers are hunting them down because we know we're going to meet them again. And then in the end, they all see that Negan's alive, and then they all like go down on one knee, and then Negan talks to them, and then they all leave, kind of thing. I don't know. Like, it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting theory. I think there could be some parts of this that could be true, definitely because of the comic material, right? Because this did happen. There was this small arc here with Sherry and Dwight and the Saviors and wanting to fight back and stuff. And when you think about the Commonwealth arc and what we're going to be getting into in the final season, before everyone comes to Alexandria, because in the comic, Pamela Milton and everyone in the Commonwealth and Eugene and all of them, they return to Alexandria. And then Pamela meets Rick and all of them for the first time. Well, on the show, before that happens, they all first have to get to the Commonwealth, meet everyone, and then go through all of that and then come back. So if you're doing that in the final season, what's Daryl and all of them doing in the meantime, right? And that's kind of what they do in the comic a little bit. It's a little different because this does happen a lot way sooner. It's all kind of happening at once. That's the thing. For a few issues, we don't really see Rick, and there's some rebuilding issues. And so, if you're writing a television show, you expect to see Daryl and Carol in them at least every 2 to 3 episodes at least, right? It's the final season. You're not going to ignore those characters. So what do you do with them in Alexandria, and what do you do with Negan? What do you do with Maggie? Because there's still so much comic material we have to get through. What are we going to get there, right? And so I think this could potentially be an option if they wanted to, is to get into something like that. And I do think that's why the Reapers were created, was just for something for them to do. It's kind of borrowed from the comic a little bit, and they could still do the Negan thing, but ultimately in the end just kind of change things up a little bit, right? It would be really interesting though, right? Like, I think it would be a very interesting scene to have Negan, I guess, just in Alexandria, and then all the saviors or Reapers, I guess, bow down to him, or they all go down on one knee. And just to see Maggie's reaction to that, Daryl's reaction to that, because all of a sudden he has all these followers, but Negan decides, like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And I think on the show's version of this character, he'll be even more so like that. He'll definitely tell him to leave. Because what's going to happen with the Reapers next? I don't think we're going to see them in episode 18. I think that's going to be just Daryl and Leah and just that story. In 19, it's possible that Robert Patrick's character, his name's Maze, it's possible he's a Reaper, and I do still think he is, so maybe we'll see them more then. In episode 20, it's a Commonwealth episode, so we're not going to get them in that episode. 21, there's some Daryl and Carol stuff, but I don't think it's going to be that. I just don't. And then 22's here's Negan, and so you could get into some stuff there potentially, but it's very possible that the Reapers are just something that they set up for early final season stuff. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see on how all this is going to go. And that's kind of the thing with all this, is that if this is true, then here's Negan in the end. If all of this is true, then Negan has to be in Alexandria in that last episode, or even in the final season. And if he's not, then that whole kneeling down scene, like this cover here, doesn't really make any sense, right? So this seems like it could be a cool idea, but I think that in the end, I think they just reused the same actor, right? Like, obviously right now there's always something like this, I think, every season, where this theory will come up, something will come up, and then it makes sense with the comics and all this stuff, and who knows, this still could be true, but I don't know. As of now, I'm not, like I said earlier in the video, or in the beginning of the video, I'm not like 100% on this theory. I think it's very interesting when you consider the fact that in the comics, there's something very similar that happens here, and the Reaper guy said Pope marked you, so maybe the Pope guy knew who Maggie was, and so marked her specifically because of the whole Negan thing, right? So it's possible we could be getting into like this final part of the savior arc kind of thing, right? Like just wrapping some stuff up between Maggie and Negan, and it is the final season. Maybe you can do something like that here, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they're planning to do with the Reapers, because if it's not that, I don't really know what they're all about. That's the thing. Do they have a base somewhere? Like, where's their camp? Obviously, they have to have a camp if they have all that gear and equipment, right? And weapons. They seem to follow people around. They hunt people down. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea, but I don't really know if there's anything more to this. But I'll leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys think about this theory, because I know that it's a little crazy, but obviously theories are just kind of like that, and this is still very early on. We still need some more information, and it could just be that, right? We could get some more information right away, and then all of a sudden all of this stuff starts to make a lot more sense. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.